Do you have a book to read? And it was a great question because we were catching a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Zurich, Switzerland. And it was about a 10-hour flight. And my husband knows that I'm not one to watch TV on the airplane. I don't really listen to headphones or anything like that. I usually just read. So he was asking, do you have a book? Because I'm in for a 10-hour flight. And I said, no. Today I'm up for surprises and I'm going to do something a little bit different. And he said, what are you going to read? Like, what are you doing today? And I said, I'm going to go through a stack. And I got this great big stack of notebooks. Now, many of you have notebooks like this, and you probably haven't gone through them in a while. And if you're like me and you're a small business owner and you've been running your own business for 30 years, you might have boxes, even a library of these kind of 3-ring binders. I know this was true for me. Now, the reason it's true for me is because I am a prolific note taker. So every time, in fact, all the time in front of me, there's a spiral binder. And as something pops into my head, I make a note. And then as I do that I cross it off my list. And so as soon as the day is over, I have 5, 6, 7 sheets from every single day, things that I was supposed to do, reminders to myself, things that need to be outsourced or delegated to someone else on my team. So here I was headed to Switzerland, and I had a great big suitcase full of these old binders. And he said, why are you taking those on this trip? Are you going to use them? And I said, no, I'm not. But I've been procrastinating going through them for 30 years. And here's the reason why. We all procrastinate for different reasons, and they're all valid reasons, I'm sure. But for me, each of these notebooks represented a part of my life. And inside these pages are old notes, things that I was going to do, things that I wanted to do. Maybe they were goals, maybe they were ambitions, maybe they were things that I was going to purchase but couldn't quite afford yet. And so then as later in my life, when I was able to achieve those things, then I crossed them off. Sadly, there are boxes of books that never got crossed off. So I said to myself, if I pack these up in my suitcase will be full. I will read these on the plane and I will cross out everything that does not pertain to my current life right now, that this information cannot be duplicated or replicated anywhere else on the internet. These might be my prized thoughts. Like, I don't know, maybe I have some prized thoughts that are unlike anyone else's. I don't know. But if these are not ideas that can be replicated or duplicated somewhere else, I'm going to cross them off. And when I get to the first airport on the other side, I'm going to toss whatever it is I'm not carrying with me. I'm not going to be carrying around a great big suitcase full of old binders in Switzerland, okay? But then I will be coming back with an empty suitcase. So I decided for me, I'm going to end the procrastination right now, right here, because technology has changed and so have I. So what I did is I sat on the plane for 10 hours and I read every page of my notebooks. And as I went through, I just crossed them off, cross. And what's interesting is there were some things that I was going to do in my business. And if they were important things, like I need to learn search engine optimization, for example, it would keep coming up again and again throughout the notebooks. And as I was reading them over and over again, I started to highlight moments where I said, okay, now I've learned part of the SEO, and now I'm going to learn other parts of the SEO. And so I could see the progression through the books, and I crossed them off because once you learn it, you can't unlearn it. And so now that I'm older in my business, I've learned search engine optimization, which is really cool, but I no longer need those notes to remind me. So for years, I had been putting off going through my notes because to me, it was really valuable information that couldn't be duplicated or replicated anywhere else, right? Wrong. I got to the first airport on the other side and had a great big old chunk of books and I just chuffed them in the trash. And he's like, what? You're getting rid of those? I was like, I no longer need them. I either know the information or I can now find it quicker on the internet. Here's what they don't tell you in note-taking school. If I need something that's inside any of these notebooks, how on earth is it indexed? And the answer is, it's not indexed. I couldn't find it. I would have to literally go through every single page, reading every single note to try to find the one little gem that I needed to make the next thing happen on my list, right? So it wasn't an effective way of keeping notes at all. So I was really happy then to get rid of lots of the notebooks. Now, I have a great big closet full of the notebooks, and I've been going through them one by one. So if I have any time at all, I've got a stack of them in my car. If I'm waiting and I'm a passenger, because I usually ride, I usually don't drive anymore. But as I'm a passenger, I sit there and I go through the notes and I toss them at the next stop. because I promise it's not like private information or anything. It's just, weird notes, buy something at the grocery store or a doctor's appointment, or learn this or learn that or whatever, just weird notes that don't mean anything to anyone except me. And they don't mean anything to me now. All right, today I want to share with you procrastination and why don't we declutter? And it's usually very good reasons like the one that I had. So I'm super excited that you guys joined me. I want to say hi to Fran. Fran is back. Fran is back from Arizona. Hi, Fran. It's good to see you. I'm super excited that you're here today. We've got Melanie Palker here today. She says, hi, Angela. Love these lives. Hi, I'm so glad that you're here today. We've got Patty G with us again, here for more motivation, chipping away at purging. I want to hear more about that. That sounds so exciting because I'm in a super excited mood today about purging and decluttering and the reasons why some of us have put it off. I love this. It's so good to see you guys. Laura is here from Switzerland. Glad I'm able to live in the live. Yay. This is so cool. And JS says, Fran, I do too. I missed a comment in there. I am Julie. JS says, I am Julie. Okay, cool. You guys, this is so cool. Thank you so much for joining me. So one of the reasons that people procrastinate is, and procrastination is a conscious choice. If we go back to what we were talking about last week, one of the things that we talk about was the procrastination, and it is a conscious decision, unlike indecision. And that's to delay or avoid taking action on decluttering, while paralysis is the inability to decide what to keep and what to discard. Procrastination is a choice, while paralysis is an emotional obstacle. Okay. So if you know what to do, if you know where to start, this is not indecision. Okay. This is different. If you know what to do and you haven't done it, then the question is, why not? Why have you been putting it off? So today we're going to look at a couple of the reasons, the honest to goodness reasons why. And then I'm going to give you some of the strategies that we've used over the last couple of decades to help people kind of pull themselves out of a slump and realize that you do have a choice. And the sooner you make that choice, the easier it's going to be moving on. Now, I have room. Okay. This is a disclaimer. I have room in my house for all of the books that I have, all of these great big notebooks, and I've got boxes of them. I actually have room. Okay. I've got room in my house. They're not taking up any space that is making anybody trip. There's no hazard in the house. They're put away in a climate controlled closet. They're perfectly organized. There's no reason, nothing is forcing me to get rid of them. Okay. I'm forcing myself to get rid of them for a variety of reasons we've covered on other programs. I don't want any of my relatives to have to go through them when I die. Okay. That's the Swedish death cleaning concept. We want to get rid of it so that our heirs don't have to do that. The next thing is I may move in the next couple of years. And if I do, I certainly don't want to take more boxes of stuff. And I have carted it from move to move to move for how many years? Who knows? I just keep getting bigger houses, right? But this time I'm going to be downsizing. I'm going to be getting a smaller house because I don't need a great big monster house. And I have the great big monster house right now because I have about 10 employees that work out of my house. And so they come on a rotating basis and they're here all the time. And it's kind of a great big happy house that we have lots of activity in at all times. But at the new place, that probably won't be the case. I'll probably get an office somewhere. They will come to the office and it will be more business-like. So one of the reasons that I'm downsizing is because I'm not going to get a storage unit. I've already decided that I'm not going to do that. And then I've already decided that some of the stuff, like the stuff that's in my books that I've been hanging on to for dear life, I don't need. I now have ChatGPT. Hooray for ChatGPT. If you guys are not familiar with ChatGPT, I got to take a quick sidebar. I believe it was Elon Musk and his team back in 2015 started this AI thing. And they've been progressing for several years. And in November 30th of 2022, it became available as an open source to the public. And I discovered it right around Christmas time. So I was about a month late getting on board with it. But it's kind of like a Google search engine. But instead of having all the ads pop up and then a website pops up and you have to read the website to find the information you're looking for, it kind of is like research on steroids. So you just ask a question and it like pops out the answer at you. And so anything that I was hoping to find in my books, searching page by page, I can now ask ChatGPT. And if it's a valid answer and it's pretty smart, it can give me an answer like right away. So I'm going to use that now instead of these old notebooks. So it's even more of an incentive to get rid of my stuff. It's like that moment I had when I realized, wait a second, I don't need all my books, because now all those books are available. Most all of them are available on Kindle. And so on my smartphone, which is only this big, I can carry all my entire library of books instead of having a great big climate controlled room that has hundreds and thousands of books, right? And I had thousands of books. I think I had about 10,000 books at one point. And I'm an avid reader and I love books, but to cart them around from move to move, it just didn't make sense anymore. And storing paper when I could have it all on my phone at my disposal. You read a book and instead of trying to find a new place on the shelf, and this goes in the books that I've read, just take it off your library, right? It was awesome. I love it. All right, so let's jump over and talk about procrastination for a second. I love this topic. This is just a great topic. I just love it. There are so many things that we don't think about until we think about them. And then we're like, hey, wait a second, I do have a choice. One of the reasons that people procrastinate decluttering their homes and getting rid of stuff that they either no longer need, want, or use is a lack of motivation. It's like me having all the books in my house. I have a place. There's really no reason to get rid of it. No one is making me. No one is making me. I'm a grown adult. I can do whatever I want. It's my house. Just a lack of motivation. There was no really good reason. There was nobody lighting a fire under me to do that. Okay. And so with a lack of motivation, there's no inspiration. So it's easy to say, oh, I got really busy. I'm taking care of other people. I'm doing other things. You know, life's meaningful and purposeful. Why would I go to a closet and pull out stuff that's not causing me harm and go through it and get rid of it? Lack of motivation. So we ask ourselves, what kind of motivation is going to spark our interest so that we will, in fact, go ahead and make the next move? What's going to make us do that? It comes down to goals. And so for me, the goal was, am I going to move at some point to another house? The answer is yes. We've been looking for a couple months. But if I do move, do I want to take all the books with me? And do I want to take all the boxes of notebooks with me? And the answer is no, I don't. So if I had to move today, and this is a question that I started asking about a year ago, because a year ago, the real estate market was really high. And we had several people come and knock on our door and they're like, hey, you want to sell your house? I was like, no, I love living here. This is so cool. But then I started thinking about it because our house has probably doubled in value. And it's just the weird real estate market that we're in. And so if I did sell my house and I were to move today, like let's say today I change my mind and I decide to sell my house, how fast can I get rid of all my stuff? And the answer is like, well, not very fast at all. I got a lot of stuff. And like you, I don't want you guys to get rid of anything that you're using. I don't want you to get rid of anything that makes your heart sing. But if you had to move today, would you have to put stuff in storage because you either don't know what to do with it, or you haven't made a decision about it, or you've been procrastinating having those conversations with yourself? And for me, I was just procrastinating. But if this is 2023 and I look into the future, my question is, how often am I going to use those books again? Now I've got ChatGPT, I've got Google, I have it once upon a time, it was Ask Jeeves, right? This was before the internet was really popular and we had Siri and Alexa and we had all these different search engines at our disposal. And so for me to have information, it was like, this is my information, my prized information, right? And so I didn't want to get rid of them. But now that I have new goals, maybe a new goal of moving to a new home, maybe a new goal of just downsizing the stuff that I have so that I don't one day have to worry about, well, I'm so old now and my family's going to have to go through all these notebooks. What are my goals, right? And then I have to take action on those goals, because if I don't take action, nobody's going to get rid of my stuff in my closets for me, right? Now, these are my happy bells. And I don't know if I ever told you about my happy bells, but my happy bells are my sugar-free dopamine high. And I have to share this with you because I use them all the time. What I'm looking at right now, right in front of me, are the happy bells that you're seeing right here on my screen. They're in my office right now, and I have them scattered all over my house. This is what they look like. They're super cool. There's a little happy face on, where's my camera? There's a little happy face on both sides. Now, in a worst case scenario, if this sits on my desk and I'm having a sad moment and I look up from my desk, hey, there's a happy face looking at me. Yay, right? All right. So I have these scattered all over my house for this reason. In my house, whenever you do something cool, you ring the happy bell. Like, woo! I just did something cool. So the reason this is exciting for me is because we've set this up so that my husband, all the employees, even pets can be trained with a happy bell. So instead of giving a dog a treat, you give him a happy bell. It's the same dopamine high for the dog. He's like, whoa, I did something right. It works for people and spouses as well, right? It works for kids. It works for adults. It's amazing. So in our business, every time somebody achieves something worthy of a happy bell, they ring the bell and everybody's like, oh, wow, look, somebody did something cool, right? Don't tell anybody, but I'll tell you a secret. When no one's here and I'm here by myself and I complete tasks on my to-do list, I ring the happy bell for myself. It's the same dopamine high and it makes me so happy. Now, I did leave links in the notes below because you guys are going to want happy bells, I know, for your own family. And the reason being is it makes such a difference when you reward yourself for taking action instead of procrastinating. Okay. So I did leave links in the show notes for these if you want to take a look at them and you want to learn more about them. They're very inexpensive. I think I bought a pack of 12 for about $30. And it's the best money I ever spent because we use them all day, every day. Now, here's how it works. My husband loses a pound. He jumps on the scale. What does he do? He rings the happy bell. Whoa, whoa. How much is it? And we all celebrate. He takes out the trash. He comes in the house. He rings the happy bell. What happened? I took out the trash. I'm like, yes. And then I ring the happy bell. Why? Because I'm happy that he did something on my to-do list. So everybody can help each other instead of you doing all the work yourself, right? So this is one way we can stop the procrastination by having other people participate in our joy. With no joy, it's easy to just have the lack of motivation because there's no celebration for the things that we've done. So I want you to start celebrating. And like I said, it's a sugar-free dopamine because while I'd love to give you a piece of chocolate or some cheese, I find that makes me fat. And so the little ringing bell does not make me fat and it gives me the dopamine high. I love it. All right, I'm going to jump over here. Melanie says, I remember using a search engine called Dogpile. You know, I have to stop for a second and say that I love the old search engines. Before Ask Jeeves, this is on the early stages of the internet. My library, my public library had, if you had a free library card, you could go in there and you could play 20 questions and they had people that would do research and they would pull it up on the microfiche and they would give you up to 20 questions per day. And so every day on my way home from work, I would stop by the public library and I would pick up my list of 20 questions of the research that they were going to do for me. It was kind of like outsourcing my business questions to the public library in lieu of my free library card. It was awesome. Then they went digital. And so then they started emailing me my 20 questions. And I was like, oh, this is so cool, right? And then Ask Jeeves appeared. And I was like, Jeeves, now I can ask Jeeves and I can bypass the library and get my answers in real time. Nobody has to stop and research it. Oh, I just love the internet. This technology thing is so cool. We have a Facebook user that says, yes, I need to downsize. We're all in the same boat. I'm telling you, we're all in the same boat. With the advent of online shopping, we're all in the same boat, needing to downsize and get rid of some of the stuff in our lives. So thanks for bringing that up. My son wanted an easy button from Staples. He's 13 and he's motivated by that. Yay. Yes, I love those. That was easy buttons. I love those. Those are so cool. This is the same concept. So that was easy, or a happy bell. The happy bells work really well, but that's easy button. Same concept. Yes. Again, it's a dopamine high and it's sugar free. I love it. All right. So I want to continue with other reasons why pack rats and clutter bugs procrastinate. Another reason is because of low energy. Now, I hate that this is the case, but sometimes we don't feel our best. Sometimes we're not on top of the world. And as a result of that, when we get up in the morning, we just feel like we got hit by a bus. We're like, I just can't today. I just can't. I've got so much on. I just can't. And so what happens is we find a way to explain away the reasons why we can't do whatever it is we've been procrastinating. So if it's going through a drawer in our kitchen, whether it's organizing our bathroom vanity with a whole bunch of bottles of lotions and makeup and all kinds of stuff on it, whether it's going through closets of clothing that we no longer need or want, or toy boxes that the kids have outgrown, if there are reasons that, we shouldn't, we usually find those reasons and we hang on to them, and we just don't have the right kind of energy. We just don't really feel like we can make it work for us, the low energy. And so I want to go back to something that we talked about before, and that is, what are you doing to exercise? And I know that this doesn't sound like a logistical plan, if you will, to exercise when you have no energy. It's easy to say, I just don't have the energy. I just can't do it. Okay, what we learned before is that energy requires or motivates more energy. So if you're missing energy, we need to get out and do something. We need to get the heart going again. We need to get the oxygen flowing through the body. One of my favorite tools that I've ever used is, it's called a rebounder or a mini trampoline. And I have one of these. I've got 2 of them in my house, and I've put links to those in the notes below as well. One of the things that I use them for is 5 or 6 times a day at different times during the day. First thing in the morning, midday, if I get through the day and there's like a mid slump and I'm just kind of like tired, I just can't go anymore, I'll just jump for a few minutes, and it replaces the need for an afternoon cup of coffee. Because what the afternoon coffee is supposed to do is it's supposed to kind of like perk you up again, right? But if you jump on the trampoline for just a couple minutes, and I call it my 90-second workout, here's how it works. If I jump on the mini trampoline, I look at the clock because I have a clock within sight. I'm going to finish out that minute, however long that minute is, and then 1 whole more minute. It's only 90 seconds. Sometimes it's 70 seconds. Sometimes it's 110 seconds, but it's all of under 2 minutes. Okay. It's whatever the last bit of that 1 minute is, and then 1 whole minute. And I'll just jump and do all kinds of things and move my arms and do a little aerobic dance. And what happens then is my body starts getting back in the flow of, oh yeah, you're awake again. And then I can go back to work and I can do whatever it is I'm doing. So if you start to declutter and you pull out a bunch of stuff and you get halfway through the project and then you just kind of poop out, go get on the mini trampoline. And if you don't have a mini trampoline, I want to share this with you. They have those that come with a handlebar, and the handlebar will give you stability, but it's one of the very best tools that they do in physical therapy for people that are aging, because it helps build your balance. And so as you're jumping, it's going to really keep your balance well on into your later years in life. So you buy one of them, it's going to last you for the rest of your life. I've had one probably for about 20 years. They're really, really durable. They don't fall apart. And so if you take good care of them, and I mean, don't leave them outside in the rain or anything. If you keep them inside your house, they're going to last forever. So a small mini tramp, and I would say keep one in front of the TV instead of just sitting down and starting to eat in front of the TV. If you'll spend the first 10 minutes of every TV watching session bouncing on that little mini trampoline, you're going to have all kinds of energy, and you don't have to bounce high. Like, you notice that this person's feet is not even off the mini tramp. Okay. They're not bouncing high. They're not doing all kind of like tricks and turns and everything. They're just bouncing, and that's going to realign your spine. So I know, especially for house cleaners, I've been in the house cleaning industry for 32 years. At the end of every job, because we get on the floor, hands and knees sometimes behind toilets and doing all kind of weird movements and reaching, and you just come home and your body aches. And so by jumping on the little mini trampoline, it realigns your spine. It's really great for your core, which is your midsection, your gut, your abs, your butt, your quads. It's great for your knees. It helps your ankles, strengthen your ankles. It's really good exercise. Okay. So if you're lacking energy and you just don't have the motivation physically, I want you to get out and either go for a brisk walk as fast as you can, like you're going somewhere, or get a little mini tramp if you can't get outside because there's too much snow or it's raining outside or whatever the reasons are. Procrastinators are fantastic about finding excuses for not doing what you know you should. Okay. So I want to remove and eliminate all of the reasons why you shouldn't. Okay. We're smarter than that. Remember how we said in a couple other moments, we deserve the best for ourselves. And if we're taking the best care of ourselves, we can take care of other people better, right? And if we're people pleasers and we want to take care of our families like we know they deserve, the first person we got to take care of is ourselves, because that puts us in a better situation to take care of other people. I know, I love it, right? I'm going to give us a happy bell for that concept. All right, there you go. Melanie says, I've been advised against jumping because of osteoporosis in my spine and just stick to walking. That's okay if you do just stick to walking. The point is that you do something. You got to do something. And if you are wheelchair bound, I know we have lots of people that are experiencing mobility issues. If that's the case, there are still things that you can do with upper body with like stretch bands. We got stretch bands. Where do I have stretch bands? Stretch bands right here. I keep one at my desk. I keep one next to the television. I keep one in my car. And you can do all kinds of physical exercise. It's really great exercise that keeps your upper body toned. Do as much as you can while you can. When you go to therapy for having any kind of surgery, shoulder replacements, whatever, these stretch bands, they have you use them on your legs. They have them use them on the knees. You can put your legs through them and use them to stretch to get the inner and outer thighs. You can use them for your arms to do arm pulls. It's amazing what you can do, and they're very inexpensive. I do not have links to the notes in the notes below for these, but I will leave them after this is over in the replay. But you got to do what you got to do, right? And so we're going to do the best that we can. Patty G says, I just saw some foldable mini trampolines on Amazon. Foldable is perfect to put away when not in use. Yes, that's perfect. And I want to suggest this. Don't spend the extra money for the foldable ones. I have a couple of foldable ones myself, and I paid a lot of extra money for the foldable ones. I've never folded them up ever because they're always out and I use them all the time. And I don't think of any time when you're ever going to not have them. And if you have to move them out of the way, if family comes and you're going to put up an air mattress or something, stand it up on its side and just roll it into another room of the house for a minute while your family's here, and then roll it back and put it back. But if you fold it up, here's what's going to happen. You're never going to use it again. You're going to fold it up. It will be out of sight, out of mind. And then you would have paid extra money for the privilege of getting rid of something out of sight, out of mind that you actually need. So don't spend the extra money. My personal opinion. So Tai Chi in a chair. Yes, you can do that as well. Thank you, Glenda. I love the idea. And Melanie says stretch bands. Yes, they work. Got mine from Physio. Yes. Awesome. I love that. I'm going to give you a bell for that. There you go. Love it. And Laura says, good idea. The bands. You know what? All of these are great ideas because they will keep your body going again. And so I'm excited about that. One of the other things that we talk about with no energy is we talk about the food that we consume. This is something that we carried on in another moment together. But gold food, for the most part, there are a few exceptions, but gold food for the most part is our processed food. These are processed things that don't have a lot of nutrients in them. And so the problem with this is if we're eating food without a lot of nutrients, it's not going to give us anything back. It's only going to rob us of the nutrients that we have. But if we eat green foods instead, that's going to replenish the nutrients that we have. So are you going to give your nutrients away, or are you going to request more? And the answer is gold versus green. So this week, here's your call to action. If you have a choice and you run into some gold food, say no to the gold and yes to the green. You always want to choose at every meal possible the healthiest choices available to you. The healthiest choices available to you. And I know this is really where it gets a little bit, somebody in your house probably eats junk food. I know they do in mine. And they say, hey, can I get you an ice cream pop or something? And I'm thinking to myself, an ice cream pop or an apple? Oh, that's a tough one because I love ice cream pops. That would be so cool. But I'm the one that's going to end up having the joy from the nourishment in my body. Either I'm the one that's going to get fat from the ice cream pops, or I'm the one that's going to get the extra natural energy from the things that I eat. So while it might really be fun to have the ice cream pop, what I have to realize for myself is if I'm going to run on high octane fuel because I'm $1 million body and I want to have $1 million fuel, I don't want to eat the crapo foods to replenish that, because all my energy, my brain power, everything that I'm doing is going to be running off of the fuel that I give my body, right? So I'm the one that has to make the choice. So even though they're tough choices, and I would love to say is give me the junk food, I have to choose the other stuff. Now, I don't want you to get in a series where you only say good to healthy foods, only yes. I do have one meal a week, and this is my exception. I do have one meal a week. It's an anything goes meal, no judgments. And we go out so that we're not bringing the food home. We go out and we eat whatever we want. And it's really awesome because the first several years we did it, I'd go all out. I mean, I'd make the trips, and in that same meal, I'd go to the Krispy Kreme, and I'd go to the Baskin Robbins, and I'd get all the treats, right? And then over the years, I kind of weaned myself off of that. I didn't need as many treats. And now I might have a little tiny serving of a little dessert or something. But during that meal, I can have anything I want, lots of fun. And then the rest of the week, I pay closer attention to the energy that I'm eating, which is going to be the natural foods, right? So don't say never. Give yourself a break and let yourself have this stuff, but it prevents you then from buying it. If you buy a half a gallon of ice cream for your once a week, then it's really easy to eat it throughout the rest of the week and not save it for that one meal, right? So if you don't have it in your house and you don't buy it, then it's easy to say no to. And if someone else in your house buys it and brings it home, well, then you have to exercise your willpower, right? But again, you're not going to benefit from healthy food you don't eat. You're the only person that's going to benefit from that. And if you don't have enough energy to do the things that you really want to do in life, we got to back out, and we got to pay closer attention to how we take care of ourselves. We talked on another one about sleeping, and the sleeping is really important. This says go to bed early and get up early. I don't necessarily mean go to bed early and get up early, because everybody's bio clocks are a little bit different. Your bio clock might be that you're a night owl, and someone else in your family might be an early riser. The thing that we have to take into consideration is don't stress yourself to the max. If going to bed early is going to give you more power the next day, then go to bed early and get up early. If you're a late night owl, then don't push it to the very last, where you're so exhausted that you just collapse. That's what I'm talking about. Don't wait till you collapse. Go to bed while you're still sort of rested, so that you're building on top of already a solid foundation of well-restedness and positive sleep. Okay. So you want to make sure you get enough sleep, because again, that goes back to you're the only one that benefits from that. Again, if you're procrastinating because of low energy, this is an opportunity for you to make a full turnaround based on, I know that these things are important in my life and I have goals and I want to achieve them. Therefore, I have to take care of the best version of me. You see how all this stuff is building on top of each other? It's awesome, right? All right, here's to your health this week. Oh, where's my happy bell? You got to see the face. There we go. Woo! All right, the next one. Another reason that pack rats and clutter bugs procrastinate is because of burnout. And the burnout is very, very real. This comes from a lot of people working to serve other people. And most of the people that I've seen that are in the clutter space, these could be clutter bugs, they could be hoarders. These are people that have just given to everyone else. They reach a state of burnout and they don't have enough energy when they get home to clean their own homes and to take care of their own stuff. Because going back to what we said a little bit ago, there's no motivation, right? There's nobody there that's ringing happy bells for you. There's nobody that's like, hey, wow, look, the house looks amazing. Our families are usually oblivious to anything that we did at home. And they're not encouraging, they're not appreciative. And so there are a lot of families and people that will say, no one appreciates what I do, right? I'm working, no one appreciates it. But the reality is, the reason many people procrastinate is because of burnout. But I want to stop for a second and remind you that this is your life. This is your life. And if we're going through our entire lives and we're giving, and we're not taking something back, and I mean taking something back as in moments of joy, then we're just frittering away our life. And even though we might be giving it away in service, if there's not something that's coming back to us that fulfills us, that nourishes us, that renews our enthusiasm and our passion for life, then we've frittered away those precious moments by giving them to someone else. So I want to focus on, and this is really important, but I want to focus on, instead of just burnout, I want to focus on looking at the world with new eyes. Now, what you're looking at here is a horse in a really fashionable coat. And I think it's a cool coat for this horse. Every time I leave my house, I have to drive past this horse field. And the horses are out there. They're always out there. They don't go anywhere. They're always out there. And you drive by, and you get blind to the coolness that's every day, right? Everybody has cool stuff in their day, but we get blind to it because it's just normal. There's no excitement in it. Several years ago, I decided, and this was at the first part of my business where I was unable to afford vacations. I went for 14 years and I didn't take a vacation. So crazy. I thought the business couldn't run without me. What I didn't realize was I could take mini vacations wherever I was. So if I had a very limited amount of time and I'm only driving home, I'm coming home from a cleaning job, I'm driving home. If I got to drive past the horse field, what I want to do now is I want to stop and I want to look at the horse field with new eyes. I want to say, wow, look, there's grass that's growing in this little area, or maybe there's a new hay rule that's been added. Maybe the horses are wearing fancy fashion designer clothing today, right? I want to look at it with new eyes, because it's the new eyes. That's what happens when we go on vacation. We go to some place we've never seen. And it's like, whoa, check it out. That's so cool. And we see things that we just didn't expect. But did you know there are things that you don't normally see, that you're not expecting, that pop up every day? And we don't pay attention to them. We just blow by them because they're normal, like the horse in a coat. How cool is that? A horse in a coat, right? One of the other things, and this happened to me the other day, what we're looking at, and I'll make this big so you can see it. I'm out walking in my neighborhood. And as I was out walking, I saw this little, I don't know what you call this, a little tea kettle in a tree. And I thought, what is the tea kettle doing in the tree? And here's an insert of it so that you can see it. And I don't know if this was an art project that someone made, or if this was, I mean, it's too small to actually be a watering can of use. There are no flowers out around the tree, nothing to water with. It's too small to be a birdhouse, and it was made of tin. And I'm walking past, paying no attention. And all of a sudden I was like, wait a second, mini vacation. What the heck is that little watering can doing in the tree? I don't know. I still don't know. What do you guys think? Put it inside the notes. What do you think? What do you think it's for? Is it just decoration? It's not like there were a lot of decorations. I mean, it was just this solitary decoration, but it was something I don't see every day. So I stopped and I took a picture of it. Why? Because I collect pictures on my phone of things I don't see every day. And it just kind of makes me go, check that out. I have no earthly idea what it's doing there, but it was interesting and it caught my attention. Okay. So I want you to look at things with new eyes. Your assignment for this week on this particular segment of our procrastination series is to look at stuff with new eyes, because there's a lot of stuff that we miss every single day. If you'll look at the world with new eyes, you'll discover things about your relatives, your parents, your children, your spouses, your pets, your home, your neighborhood, your job, your church, whatever the clubs or community groups are that you participate in. If you're on social media, they always change the layouts and the designs, and there's all kinds of stuff changing in the world around us all the time. And if we're oblivious to it, we're going to miss it. Okay. But if you're in a state of burnout and you're just going, I'm going to encourage you to just stop and look at the world through different eyes. Because as you see different things, it's going to trigger different ideas and different emotions for you. Even if you're doing the same old boring stuff, what's going to happen is it's going to give you a renewed sense of life. And I want to remind you, this is your life, right? This is your life. And if you're not living it, it's going to skip you by. You're going to look back on the last 30 years and you're going to go, what happened? How did I get here? But if you have a whole portfolio, and now we can do this on our phone, a whole portfolio of little weird, cool, whimsical things that popped out at us, then we're like, wait a second, I lived a life full of joy. I saw all kind of weird, crazy things that I never expected to see. And they kind of found me on my journey through life, right? So when we talk about decluttering and removing the procrastination from our lives, again, it comes from within. We have to change who we are so that we're in a different position to say, oh, I got this. I got this time. Yeah, this is my life. I want to be in control. I want to make the choice to change what I'm doing. I want to make the choice to see things through different eyes. I want to make the choice to get rid of my own things in my own time when I'm ready, instead of waiting till I die and then my relatives have to come and either fight over it or sort through it or whatever, right? I want us to make those decisions. All right. Another reason that pack rats and clutter bugs procrastinate is because of lack of interest in boring chores. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been cleaning my house for a very long time. It's the same old, same old, same old, same old thing every single day. And we have four bathrooms in our house, and all four of those bathrooms get cleaned every single day. Now, it's true that I have employees that come to the house every day, but we have a lot of bathrooms and they have to be cleaned every day. So every day, no matter what, I clean at least 4 toilets every single day. That's not cool, right? How exciting is that? Well, it's not very exciting at all. And it's easy to put off doing chores and put off decluttering and putting off doing the stuff that we know we have to do because it's not fun. It's just honestly not fun, right? So instead of experiencing this lack of interest and this boring stuff that's not so exciting, what would happen if instead we gave ourselves the happy bell? Now, I like this happy bell for this reason. If you are inside a house and there's nobody there to help you with the chores, just the rest of the family is either somewhere else in the house or whatever, when they hear a bell and everybody in the house knows that something cool happened when the bell rings, they will unconsciously say, wait, I didn't get a happy bell either. And it is amazing how quickly after I ring a bell in my house, there's the bell, that someone else somewhere else in the house will ring the bell as well, right? Or they come running and they're like, hey, what just happened? What are we celebrating? We're celebrating something. So one of the things that helps us end the procrastination is to give ourselves the tiny rewards and to actually take them every time. Like I said, this happens when no one's in my house. It's just me. And every time I ring the happy bell, I'm like, yes, I did this for myself, right? So break the tasks up into tiny pieces. Make the bed, give yourself a happy bell. Then when you go inside the kitchen, wash the dishes, and then give yourself the happy bell. Why? Because you can. There's nobody that's stopping you. I know it's crazy, but it's really a lot of fun. When you clean out the toilet every single day, which we know you do, right? We got to clean the toilets every single day. Scrub out the toilet and give yourself a happy bell. There is nothing to say that you can't have happy bells scattered all over your house. And again, I'm going to leave links in the show notes to these because I want you guys to get some of these. I have 12 happy bells on my desk right now, but not only on my desk right now, but I have them scattered throughout my entire house, so that there's nothing good that happens without somebody being within sight of a happy bell. And I can't tell you how many times people have like dove across the table because they want to hit that happy bell because it brings awareness that, hey, I deserve this because I did something cool. And then also kind of to let everyone else know, like, hey, we did this. So break up your tasks into tiny pieces, especially if you have a hard time getting stuff done. And I know there are some of you that are going to say, well, I try to do the tasks early in the morning or when people are late sleeping or whatever. That's okay. That's okay. Still give yourself the happy bell. A ding, they can go right back to sleep. But I'll tell you what, they will appreciate when they come downstairs or when they get up in the morning that the laundry is clean and everything's folded and put away and the dishes are done and all the stuff. And they will appreciate the happy bells. Okay. I know this is adults talking to adults and you're like, I'm not going to do the happy bell. I encourage you to do it anyway. I'm a grown adult as well. And it just brings so much joy in spite of the fact that there are no little kids or anything in our house right now. It's all adults. And all the adults in the house are like diving over the happy bells. Okay. So it's cool and it works. All right. And again, it's a sugar-free treat. All right. Another reason that people procrastinate is because of doubts and confidence. And I want to stop and say, what is self-confidence and where does that come from? It comes from nobody appreciating what you're doing. You always second guessing yourself and being unsure, like, am I doing it the right way? House cleaners suffer from this a lot. We go inside people's houses and we clean their house and then they pay us the money and we never hear from them. And we're like looking around like, well, did I do a good job? I mean, they didn't fire me. They didn't complain. But they didn't say thanks and they didn't say I did a good job. And when we're a little tiny person, there's always somebody to pat our back. When we do a good job, they're like, high five. During the pandemic, everybody stopped doing high fives. People stopped doing fist bumps. People stopped touching. And they're like, germs, right? I like the happy bell because it removes the need for the high fives and it removes the need for the fist bumps. And all the people that are still on high alert, like, oh, we don't touch. Oh, you can ring a bell, right? I just gave you permission. What's really cool about this is it gives us a chance to build our confidence, knowing that what we're doing is our best effort. And what we train all of our house cleaners to do is when you leave a room, because we know we're on security cameras, I want you to grab and we have a clipboard that has a checklist on it. Take your checklist, and as you inspect the room, I want you to physically give yourself a thumbs up. And in America, this is a good sign, meaning we did a good job. This is an award we give ourselves. It's like the happy bell on the job. But what happens is our customers who are watching their cameras, their security cameras, they look at the house cleaner going through cleaning everything. Then the house cleaner comes back into the room when they're done cleaning with the checklist, and they check their own work off. And then they give themselves a seal of approval, like, oh yeah, I did a good job. Okay. That's your own pat on the back for yourself. Because as you leave, you're leaving with your head held high saying, I did the very best work that I could do. When I leave here today, I'm proud of the job that I did for my customer. My customer is going to be so pleased themselves. Every time you give yourself a thumbs up, every time you give yourself a happy bell, what you're doing is boosting your own self-confidence. You're telling yourself, I did a good job and I'm worthy of whatever comes next. And so even though life is full of doom and gloom and people that complain and people that don't give you compliments, we give ourselves the compliments because we know we did our best work, right? One of the things that I want you to do, and this has helped me and served me very well, and here's a great big picture of all my notebooks, and this is not all of them, this is some of them. I want you to take a notebook, and it's just an empty notebook, and it looks a little something like this, and I want you to put this next to your bedstand at night. And every night before you go to bed, I want you to take an ink pen and write down what you did for the day. And if you learn something new, I want you to write it down. And I don't want you to collect a whole bunch of notebooks for 30 years because that's not very helpful. But I want you to get rid of them maybe every other year. And so you're going to have a stack, okay, a small stack like this. And this is going to be about a year's worth of notebooks. Maybe you don't have that many. Maybe you have more. I don't know. But if you ever get in a slump and you feel like I'm not doing a very good job or people don't appreciate me or whatever, I want you to go back through your notebooks and I want you to read them like I did on that flight to Zurich. And I want you to take a look at everything that you learned and everything that you experienced and everything that you went through during the year. Because you'll find a lot of things pop up, like you're going to switch from, I don't know, dial up to internet service or something like that. And then you're like, whoa, look, I upgraded and now I have such fast internet. And you'll watch yourself progress through the course of the year. There's nothing that builds self-confidence quicker than going through a whole entire year of stuff and looking at all the things that you learned and all of the things that you accomplished and all of the goals that you had. And then you're like, whoa, that was a goal of mine 3 weeks ago. Holy smack, I've already accomplished that. And then you give yourself a happy bell because you accomplished it, right? And so instead of just feeling sorry, like, oh, I'm just going to put it off because I'm never going to get around to doing it. Yes, you are. You are because you're keeping track and you're keeping score. And these notebooks are going to be your record of what you're doing. Okay. It's not very expensive. I think you can buy these little books. I think during the school season, like before school starts, they're like 20 cents a piece or something at Walmart. You can go buy a whole stack of them for $2. It's not a lot of money. But to have it on hand and to have it right next to your bed so that every single night before you go to bed, you can kind of do a little download of the day. If you have anything that's causing you stress, anything that's going to interrupt your sleep, you can put it right there on the page. When you wake up in the morning, it's going to be right there waiting for you. You didn't have to take it to bed with you. You just kind of like dumped it out. It's going to be there waiting for you. Then the next day when you get up, you can take it into your office if you want, or into the kitchen while you're having your morning coffee, and you can work through it. You can write notes, you can cross it off or whatever, right? So my goal for you for this particular segment is that you start documenting what you're doing. Because if your goal is to go through the bedroom closet and it's so overwhelming and you're procrastinating and you're putting it off, this is going to give you a chance to make a note. What do I have to do to break this down in bite-sized pieces? Write it down, right? What do I have to do? Let me work on all the socks. Let me work on all the shoes. And as you break it down, cross it off your list. When you look at your list, you'll say, well, check it out. I already knocked off 8 things on my list. It's not so big anymore, is it? And as you break it down, what do? You give yourself the happy bell, right? We know the routine now. Yes, we do. I love this. This is so much fun. All right, you guys, this is so cool. Julie says, I like the idea of writing something down that you learned for the day and experience. I also write down what I have done during the day and cross it off. It makes me feel great. It's the same dopamine high when you accomplish something and you're like, yes, and you cross it off the list. It's an awesome way to do it, but it's also a great way to go back in time and see what you've learned. I love that. I love that idea. Fran said, I was a floral designer for 15 years. Oh, Fran, we have so much to talk about. And I bet you had, as a small business owner, I bet you had a lot of notes that you had as well. I can only imagine. Jilly Bean said, it's incredible to read through the past like that. Remember how it might have been a big deal at the time, but you can look back with pride at how far you've come and what you've accomplished. This is true. And this is the one thing that I use in days if I get really depressed or really in a slump. For every business owner, you run into this. You have days where you're like, why am I doing this? I must be crazy. Does this ever happen to you? And so I'll grab these books and I'll go through them. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I was crazy. Check it out. I was going to do this on this particular day. And I either talked myself out of it because it was truly crazy, or OMG, I actually did it. And now we're experiencing the benefits of it. Right. So there's a lot of stuff that goes in these notebooks that I don't know how it's ever going to happen. Like, hey, this is a crazy goal. I want to do this. And then, a year later, it's already accomplished, and not at all how I thought it would have been accomplished, because the resources or the avenue that made it possible, I didn't know about at the time. But sometimes writing it down opens up the door of your creativity. And it's like, hey, I'm now looking for this opportunity. Stuff starts coming your way, right? So I love the process of writing stuff down, because if I'm decluttering, especially, I can make a list. And as I start crossing stuff off the list, then it gives me not only the sense of accomplishment, it shows me what else I have to do. And it also opens the door that either I can outsource it, or I can make a different change, or I can keep something a little bit longer, or I can let something go a little bit sooner, or someone else in my house can see it and go, oh, I can help with that, right? Lots of opportunities if we're tracking and measuring our results. This is so good. Patty G says, I like to use lists and enjoy the satisfaction as I cross off an item on my list. It really helps me. I love checklists for the same reason. Patty G said, my obstacle is paralysis about what to keep and what to purge. I have a powerful emotional connection or item is still useful, but then I have to figure out where to donate it, sell it, etc., and then I give up. So come back next week, because next week we're going to be talking about paralysis. That is our conclusion of the indecisiveness, the procrastination, and the paralysis. We're going to talk about the paralysis and how we actually overcome that. But the procrastination is really an important topic, and I'm really glad that we talked about this today, because there are so many things that we do have control over. And there are moments when maybe we didn't have a lot of energy before, but now we do have enough energy to do it. And so it gives us the power to make the decision, is today the day? So I love that. Another reason pack rats and clutter bugs procrastinate is because of the fear of letting go. So this goes back to, oh my goodness, we had mixtapes way back when. Do you guys remember the mixtapes? We had all of our favorite songs on one tape, and it was easy to hang on to, because instead of listening to a whole bunch of different tapes and carrying around these little portfolios like you see here in the picture of our favorite cassettes, we had all our songs on one tape. And that one tape went inside our vehicle, and then we just left it in there for years and years. And every time we'd get stuck in traffic, we'd play the song and it would pump us up again. Well, now we have that on our phones. Our phones now stream all of those songs. We can have all of our favorite songs that also play via Apple Play or whatever it is in your car, that we don't need the streaming. We don't need the CDs and the cassettes and the 8-tracks and the LPs and all the stuff that we had even when I was a kid, right? I've been through that whole entire evolution, and now it's all on the phone, just like all the books are in the phone. So we've been able now to say without so much pain, because you're not really getting rid of all the favorite songs. You're just getting rid of the cassette tapes, which are the bigger versions of that. So it's like getting rid of an old clunky car in lieu of a new one. It's still transportation that's going to get you from point A to point B, i.e. you still have the same songs, you're going to hear the same music, but you don't have to have the physical tapes or the physical CDs, right? So save those for Lousy Prize Monday. And you're like, what's that? In our business, we have Lousy Prize Monday, where we give away lousy prizes, and most of it's stuff that we're decluttering. And so the other day, somebody gave away some of their CDs. We're like, yes, that's a lousy prize. That was so awesome. We actually rang the bell for that. And then the person that got the lousy prize, then they had to figure out what to do with it, right? Because we're all now in the same train of thought where we're trying to get rid of stuff that we have other options for. With like my great big stack of ideas here, after it's a year or two old, it's not important anymore. Because if it's really important and it's something I was focused on, it's going to come back again and again and again. And I will have written it down multiple times that I can get rid of all of those old versions, right? So instead of hanging on to it because we're afraid that it's the greatest idea in the world, it's really not. All the great ideas you have are up in your head. And if you forgot what they are, you can ask a question now online and the internet somewhere, Jeeves, ChatGPT, Google, Alexa, Siri. There's somebody out there. I say somebody, like these are my friends. They're not my friends. They're tools.
I don't know that one.
Uh-oh. Do you hear that? Alexa's now talking to me. They're everywhere, right? Okay. So I just want for us to start thinking in terms of consolidating the music that we have, for example. Instead of us carting it with us, that's no longer so necessary to do because it is available for consolidation. As I'm looking at this, I see that our time is running out, and I am so sad because we are at the end of another hour. Where does our time go? This is so much fun, and I always run out of time, and then I'm like, how did we get here? Another reason pack rats and clutterbugs procrastinate is because of perfectionism. And I want to run through this really fast before I let you guys go, because a lot of us have problems when we're organizing because we are in fact perfectionists. And if you're like me, you want it to be perfect because I saw it on Pinterest. Therefore, I got to make it look like the Pinterest package, right? No, you don't. Most of us live in homes that don't look like Pinterest. I hate to say this, but most of us don't. And so it's okay if you don't. I'm going to give you permission here on this call today to make sure that your home does not look like Pinterest. Mine does not either. And I'm okay with that because I'm going for practicality over perfectionism. And I want us to give ourselves permission. What does your life look like? Now, in my life, for example, what we are looking at instead of a Pinterest perfect result, what we're looking for is I'm looking for something that is useful. And we've done this in so many people's homes where we go in and they say, I don't have enough storage space. So we take a shelf that didn't exist. You just buy a shelf. And on that shelf, we put plastic bins. Now, I'm a really big fan of the plastic bins for this reason. With the plastic bin, you can see at a glance what's inside the plastic bin, right? You can see how much stuff is in the plastic bin. And then when it starts getting low, here's how it works. Inventory starts getting low. That means it's time to do laundry. Your stuff that was in here is now getting low. You got to do some laundry. Then when the laundry comes through, what you do is you take all the lids off of the bins that are inside your closet, and you just take stuff from the laundry bin and you go, the underwear goes in this one, and the socks go in this one, and the whatever it is goes in all those bins. And you go from room to room with your great big laundry basket, and you put it inside everybody's bin. And so we're not sitting there folding and rolling all the socks and stacking all the underwear and rolling everything in tidy little. Our home is not like that. Okay. That's not practical for us. If I can get it in the clear bin, and you got clean underwear and you got clean socks, that's good enough. Let me give myself a happy bell. Okay. So I want to give you permission that it does not have to be perfect, and it does not have to be Pinterest worthy. And I say Pinterest worthy, meaning it doesn't have to be perfect, right? It's clean. It's orderly. You can see at a glance what you got. That's good enough. All right. The kitchen is the same thing. We want to be productive over perfect. Is your pantry productive? Now, I love this pantry for this reason. If you look back to the far right on the second and third shelf, what you're looking at are a bunch of stackable containers for food storage. All of the lids for those containers are over there on the left side in those cardboard boxes. And so the homeowner has all of those stored so that everything is economical, everything is out where you can reach it. It's all easy to access, but nothing is getting in the way and it's not super cluttered. So on the top shelf, there are paper goods like paper plates and paper cups and stuff like that for parties or get-togethers. And then on the bottom shelf, there are all the lids for the stackable containers. And then on the right, we do this in a lot of people's homes, not Pinterest worthy at all, but it's a really good choice. Taking reusable containers and reusing those containers so that they are, mice proof is not the right term, but like this is a pickle container and inside it has elbow macaroni. When you get the elbow macaroni, you get like the box. Instead of just leaving the box in your pantry where a mice or a rodent or something could get into it, or a kid could knock it over, and because it's in a cardboard box, the rest of it spills out, and then you got a mess to clean up. If you'll put it inside an airtight container, cut the front of the label off, just stick it on with a piece of tape. That's inside your pantry. It's not Pinterest perfect. It doesn't have a fancy label on it. You're not going to win any prizes or any, glamour contests for having a beautiful pantry, but it's going to be effective. And so my suggestion to you is, if you're looking for a quick inventory way, here's another one. This was a used container that had pretzel snacks or something in it. And now it's used to store regular food. And these are snacks, I think noodles, that also are easy for a mouse or a rodent to get in if it was left out, right? So to just airtight that so that it is airtight. This is, again, an effective way to store food for food storage or what have you. And this is a great prop. I love to use this. But it's, again, it's not going to win you any prizes. It doesn't look like anyone's Pinterest pantry at all, but it's very, very effective. So I want us to get out of, I got to be a perfectionist. It has to look like the lady on YouTube that made the really fancy video and everything was color coordinated and whatever. That lady's not coming to your house. She's not going to judge you. She's not going to see your pantry. She's not going to be the one that does the project for you. She's not the one that's going to eat the food. No. We have to make it easy so that everyone in your family can see what you have, so that you can see the inventory, so that it gets recycled on a regular basis, so that it is protected, so that rodents don't get in if one should find its way into your house. We want to start doing things that are effective and efficient and easy. And so what I'm focused on today is don't procrastinate the little things. They're all little things. Okay, they're all little things. And so if you wait and try to do them all at once, it's going to be huge. But this is your life. So we're going to do little tiny things every single day. You get to do that. This is your life, right? All right, I'm going to stop there for today because our time is up. But I've really enjoyed spending this time with you. And I'm wondering, do you have any last minute questions that I would love to cover? Julie says, sometimes I write things down at the end of the day that I did and cross them off just to remind myself of the things I did that I did not even write down. Thank you for your wonderful ideas. You guys, thank you so much for joining me today. This was awesome. And I love this journey that we're taking together. I do want to leave you with one note. And this is not, this is absolutely free. There's nothing to buy here, but there is a tape that I created for you as you're working through this process. And it's called The New Normal. Some of you may have already listened to it. I will leave links in the notes below. This is an 8-hour tape that you listen to as you go to bed at night. And it reprograms your unconscious and your conscious mind so that when you wake up and you're moving about the day, you start recognizing things in a different way. We talked about looking at things with new eyes. This will help you recognize things with new eyes. When they start finding their way into your life, you're going to go, hey, wait a second, that's for me, right? I created this with my new ideas and my ambitions and my goals and my dreams because I deserve it, right? So listen to the tape. Like I said, it's absolutely free. And I created it for us on our journey. I listen to it myself every night so that I too am in a state of progress. And so listen to it with me. Give me your ideas, your thoughts, your ideas. And I'm going to leave notes here so that you guys can carry on, and we'll continue this conversation in the notes below. Until we meet again, we will meet here same time, same place next week. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I had a really, really great time. And let's end the procrastination that's been stopping us. All right. Have a great week.